your Fusion Haa.
So, how did you get into being a commentator and doing it for esports?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't seem like that's something that's you just stumble upon and just like, oh, you just walk in, oh, hey, here's the mic, start talking. Like, that doesn't happen. So how'd you get into it?
Yeah. So, like, at the big events, that definitely is not how it works, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, for the people who, aren't aware of, like, how, like, Smash tournaments work, there's sort of, like, there's, like, the majors that everyone knows, so, like, Smash is featured at, like, CEO, Combo Breaker, it used to be at EVO. So, like, like that's like the major, that's like invite only most of the time. But then there's like the regional level, which is like people put in applications and stuff, and like they provide videos of commentary like from previous events to try to do that. At the local level, which is where most people play Smash at the local level.
Of course.
When they have streams and whatnot, and they have commentary setups, it's usually at least when I started, it was like, hey, does anyone want to do it? Like, we just need someone to do it right now. Because it's at a local level, so it's like, it's like very low pressure, like, not most local streams are getting 10, 20 viewers. So it's like, it's not like you have to pay bills or anything like that, so you don't have to put like, your best talent. But that's how most people start. That's how I started.
Okay.
I started like that for a while, and, and I didn't realize it back then, but I wasn't very good. I didn't realize it. I was like, man, like I went back about a year ago and found a clip from like 2019, and I was just like, why would anyone let me on the mic? Like, why were they letting me do this? Like, this is awful. But, I mean, everyone starts somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was 2019, 2020, like the beginning of Smash Ultimate was kind of rough just because, like, I was only doing local stuff, and like I couldn't really like crack at the next level and like do regional level commentary. But then what ended up happening was like COVID hit, and for one reason or another, like a lot of people, just moved on from like esports or from different facets. They move on to different things. Like some people like got married, some people like got jobs, some people like relocated, so like,
oh dang,
like that's just kind of how it is. A lot of major figures like that were around in 2019 are no longer around now.
Oh wow.
And there's like benefits and like this and disadvantages to that.
Okay.
The big like benefit for me was that now the new people running the regionals were like, hey, do you want to do it? Like, we know you commentated before. Like, do you want to do it?
Wow,
and so that's kind of how that started. It was like it was a blessing in disguise for sure.
Yeah.
And then during COVID as well, we like I said, like I'm at UH, and we did a lot of local like online events. So everyone that was like a student could like sign up for this online tournament, and I would stream them.
Oh wow!
And so I was streaming them, and they were like, like the club officer team, they were like, why don't you just commentate them? Like, don't you commentate? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not very good. They're like, dude, just do it, And so a buddy of mine and I, his name is Knoxville. He's another like really, really great caster. He just doesn't really like go do a whole lot.
Yeah.
We just grinded our way through like a year of COVID, just doing events every week, like doing those online tournaments, 2-3 hours of commentary every week. Just, swinging for the fences, trying to see what works, what doesn't work. Like I kind of found my flow there,
Okay.
I realized, kind of the big reason as to why I go back and listen to myself in 2019, 2020, and why I didn't like it was just because I feel like it really wasn't like an authentic version of myself.
I was going to ask that question. I like that.
I was trying to be too much like the people that I enjoyed watching, and I realized that I kind of just have to be my own thing. And I think during COVID, when there was no bar, so I felt like I didn't have to like meet a standard.
Yeah.
So I just got to like really just like try things and like, and that actually applies to music too. Just like trying different things, like when you're improvising, like as a drummer, like you're playing in a jazz group, and you're soloing. You're trying these like little phrases, these little nuggets of music, and like some of them are great, some of them are not so great. So the good ones, you're like, okay, I'm gonna save that one for another situation. I'm gonna bring that up later. But the ones that don't work, okay, I'm not going to use that anymore. And for commentary, a lot of the things that you say, you know, because it's not just talking about the game. You have to like tell a story. If you're working for like a high quality production who has a lot of sponsors, like you have to know how to go from game to recap to okay, throw it to a sponsor. You know what I mean? So it's like,
damn. Okay, I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning.
So I feel like it's a lot of timing. Like, it's basically like you know, you have like 5 minutes to kind of talk about this match here. Oh, dang, you gotta go here. You gotta move here. You gotta go. You can't be late.
Yeah, because sometimes someone's in your ear, like you know, like. If you're working with like a high quality production, like setup, like very professional, you know, you have someone in your ear who's usually like the production manager, and they're like, okay, hey, we have a Controller Chaos ad, we're going now, and then you have to just throw it like in the middle. You know, you're talking about like, you know, hey, these matches have been super great. Obviously, you know, we have to give some shout outs to a couple people who make this event possible, you know, and then usually they'll throw it to a slide with the ad. So you're talking over the ad. You know?
Okay.
You know,
we've been practicing on that, man.
We have been.
So cool.
So, and that actually, I feel like separates the regional like level casters from like the people at majors. Because the people at majors can just do it effortlessly. But like, you know, some people like, they kind of like, if I'm commentating at a regional and there's like one or two sponsors, you know, let's say someone throws in like $100 pop bonus, but they have an ad slide.
Right.
You know, sometimes I'll be commentating like pools and like early matches. Yeah. And usually what they do is you pair like less experienced casters at the beginning of the stream. Okay. That way they have some screen time to like, you know, get their chops going. Yeah. But you get to top 8, like you put the more experienced guys on there.
Gotcha.
But sometimes, like, they'll be like, hey, like, can you, so-and-so didn't show up, like, can you sit in for an hour? And I'm like, sure. So I'll sit down and, like, talk with someone who's, like, not as experienced and, like, try to make them comfortable. But then when that ad read happens, they just look at me like a deer headlights. They're like, you have to do this. And it's like, so that's a big thing. That's like, just knowing what to say.
So do you like do you read script, or if you already know about the product, you just kind of shoot with it?
So usually before, like they'll tell you before you sit down. They're like, hey, by the way, these are our ad reads. And something that I did, like I was doing, there was one regional, and I like did a lot of like, I quote unquote did production managing for that. Like it was like very not official, but what I did was like I printed out like little like scripts because I knew most of the people that were going to commentate were not as experienced as me. So I printed out scripts for them. I'm like, if everything goes wrong, read that. Just read it. You know? Like, you're good. And it'll be fine. But like for someone, like the more you do it, the less of the scripting.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of you know what's funny that you say that. Oh, wow. So when we have like a sponsor for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So when we first did it, I put it on the screen like, okay, you know, these are the bullet points we got to say. What we got to go through, whatever. We did that one time. Now it's just like, you know what time it is, suckers! And we just, you know, read it and do our thing.
Right. Yeah. And then we just advertise.
Yeah. And there's like different ways to do the ad reads too. Yeah. Like you guys watch like, you know, y'all know who Paul George is? Paul George, he plays for the Clippers. Yeah. He's a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he has like his podcast P or whatever. Like he has his own podcast.
Oh, wow.
Like they'll be talking and like a point will be made and like the conversation's over and they go on to the next topic. Before they do that, they like fade out and then they fade back into an ad read. Like it's just here's the ad read. Like But some people like, you know, the really good improvisers, they like, you know, talk about whatever you're talking about, and somehow they just segue into it so well.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah,
it's like Jim Cornette. It's like that's why I love it, bro. Jim Cornette, he'll segue, or Brian Lass will do it on his podcast, and he'll kind of like be. You know, they play with them. But that's what we in Chad did. We'll play with them, and then it's like, well, you know what else? And then boom, boom, you know. What's having impact? This does, you know.
Yeah.
I learned mine from the Brilliant Idiots. Like, cause we joke a lot, like me and him, like when we're just going back and forth. Like this last episode we just did, we were giggling and joking about something, and it's like, oh, time to throw a sponsor out there.
And then like, it went like at first, and then it just got back. You know? So I get it, man. So you were talking about earlier that you like, man, my past stuff was kind of What about your past commentary that you was like, oh hell no, who trusts me with this microphone?
Well, part of it was the fact that I'm better at the game now than I was, you know, in 2019, Smash specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
and because of that, I learned how I feel like having that extra knowledge now just makes casting way easier.
Okay.
Especially when you're trying to do like in-game analysis, like on the fly, you know, because games are like, competitive games, fighting games, platformers, shooters, everything is so fast paced that you can't dwell on certain things for too long. Yeah. That's something I still work on now. Okay. Is like not sitting on one thing for too long. But like if it's a really big point, like if it turned the tide of a match, like that's something that I will dwell on. But if it's just like something that's like, oh, that's a fun little tidbit that if you blinked and you missed it, you wouldn't have noticed. So like, let me bring it to light. You have to do those really quickly, right?
Really?
Yeah. So, but I think and we talked about it right now. I mentioned it as well. Just not being myself, So that's like the big thing. Like I think a lot of people now, because like last year, like 23 was like I was doing every Smash regional in Texas, I was going to 2-3 events every month. Like it was a grind. And I think the big reason why people, I don't know why, but I assume is probably why everyone just wanted me on, and why people wanted viewers would be like, where's SSB Kid at, or they would see me come up. And they're like, yeah, let's go. Like they knew it was going to be great. And it's and it's just because I'm myself. I think that authenticity is really important. So,
I agree
because because I help people with commentary, and I give them tips, and I give them a little a guide, and it's to be this is a cookie cutter version of it, right? But once you get comfortable with this, then you have to throw your own spin on it. You have to be a little bit different. So.
Yeah, because when I first met you at the Houston Gaming Expo last year, he was like, I want to do that. Yeah, and he does too. Yeah. So I was asking you for tips, and you're like, no problem. You came. You was like, yeah, let me do this real quick, and I'll get back with you. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. I got back with you, and then you were just giving me tips out the wazoo, and he's like, yeah, you kind of got to know somebody, and then the other two guys we kind of got because we knew somebody. I'm like, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, they're like, sorry, that's how it is. I was like,
nah, it's all good.
You can't be mad at it.
Yeah.
Hey, never took us a song.
We'll get there our own way, And then when we get there, hey, what's up? We here.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
That's literally how I felt. Like that. Really? So the person I was commentating with for Houston Gaming Expo, which was it was the first one of its kind, Houston, which was super great. It was great to be a part of the first one. But I did grand finals with TK Breezy, who is he is, in my opinion, top one caster in Smash on the planet. He is the caster. Okay. You go to a Smash tournament and you be like, hey, think of Smash casters. Who's the first one? 90% of people will probably say TK. He's great, and it's again because he's it's his own style, but he's really smart, hard worker. He takes the time to really just tell stories, understand certain things, but he also just commentates every game at a pretty good level. So they're at Genesis right now, which is a super major in California. And I'm pretty sure seeing on his Twitter because he was updating, oh yeah, this is all I'm doing. It's Smash Ultimate, Tekken, Rivals, Grand Blue, and I was just they're all vastly different games.
He's studying all different, bro.
Yeah.
So that sounds like you have to have a lot of intimate knowledge of every single game.
Yeah.
So to play Grand Blue, Smash Bros, all those games, and Tekken just came out. So to have, we've all been playing Tekken for a while.
Tekken's fun though.
But to have that intimate knowledge of all those games, man, that speaks to high levels. So you were saying before you have a lot of. I feel like Smash is your game.
Yeah.
So when did you first start playing Smash? How did you get into it?
Most Smashers will tell you that it's at least maybe not so now, because now you're dealing with people who got in during the COVID era. But maybe a couple of years ago it was I just played casually with friends, family, and out of my friend group, I was the best player, And then you go to a tournament and you just get absolutely destroyed. That's kind of how it works, right? So that's kind of how it started. I was. So most Smash tournaments are double elimination brackets. You can play 2 sets at max. If you lose both, then you're out. I went 0-2 for 6 months. And I would just keep going. I was like, today will be the day. No. Today will be the day. No. Today will be the day. I took a game. I lost the set. It didn't matter. You know, like that's just kind of how it was. And I just, you know, some people like might give up, but like I was like, you know, we'll just keep trying.
You're gonna be a Pokemon master.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? When I started, it was like I want to be the best, but somewhere along the way, I was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore.
I just want to win. Can I win a match?
I don't think I want to do it anymore. Like now, like you know, now like I'll go to tournaments and like go like 3-2, 4-2.
Oh, okay.
On bad days, 2-2, 1-2.
Oh, okay.
You know, which is fine, but like. Yeah, I mean, I'm considering that I don't practice the game. You know, doing that is like okay.
Wow,
that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect to be that person. I haven't played this game like all week, but sure. But
dang, who do you main?
Yeah, so I play right now. I play Cloud, and then I also like secondary Pyramithra, and then also play a little bit of. Then I play a bunch of other characters like for fun. Like I've pulled out like Incineroar, I've pulled out Falco, I've pulled out Snake.
I spite my kids with Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Jigglypuff is a tilting character if you don't know what to do against it. So, she's so like. She just seems like a meme pick. Yeah. But like a good Jigglypuff.
Oh yeah.
Like you go watch like Base Mage, who's like, you know, the best Jigglypuff in the US. Like that dude is insane.
Yeah.
Just the way he makes that character. He makes that character look like not a bottom 10 character.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one more because like it's not even segueing to some
we're
gonna ask you one more caster question, and you know if Chad got another one, I'll ask you one more.
Go ahead.
What are the key elements of a good caster, esports caster? In your opinion, or what you know?
Sure. Honestly, a lot of these things, like, you might have heard in other avenues that isn't just, like, esports and gaming, but, like, the big one is the ability to work with others. Like, that is a value and a virtue that applies to more than just, like, gaming, right?
Yeah,
so, like, if we have any, like, youngins, like, listening, like, trust me, it's that one thing applies to almost every facet of your life.
That is true.
Being able to work with other people, like, that is, like, huge. And what does that mean in casting? It just means, like, not interrupting them constantly, right? And, like, you know, being actually, like, mindful of what they're saying, like, it shouldn't be just two people taking turns talking. You know what I mean? You listen to someone talk and, you know, you're listening to them and you're processing what they're saying and you're like, and then you kind of segue with, that absolutely, or, you know, I use like those like affirmatives to like confirm what they're saying, take a point that they made and like kind of elaborate and then transition into a different point. Yeah. So like being able to like work with others in that sense. You know, it can get really redundant to say absolutely 100 times in a stream. Yeah. But, you know, there's different ways to do it. So, you know.
Break out a thesaurus, kid.
Yeah. I'm like, for sure, absolutely. And then I end up saying it anyways. I'm like, whatever. So I think that, like, you know, being mindful and, like, that is something that I've learned to listen to people more when I'm not casting, you know? So, like, in my interpersonal relationships, that's actually been, like, a great thing. Like if I'm arguing with like family or something and like they're like trying to tell me like how they're feeling and I actually listen and I realize I'm actually listening to what you have to say. So that's like the big thing is like being able to like really, because like as casters it's really easy to like get hype and like get excited and like you want to talk. The hardest part is when you have to sit back and let them talk, you know. I feel like that that is really important. So I think that's a good caster. Obviously, like, you know, it goes without saying, like, you have to have some knowledge of the game. I don't know every matchup in the game, to be truthful, but there's like certain things that you can like theory craft. Yeah. You know, like for example, like sorties versus, you know, X character, right? Yeah. Like, for example, like if I don't know the intricacies of like Cranz versus Yoshi, but like I know a sortie can wall out Yoshi and you can hit Yoshi with an aerial and break them out of their double jump armor, and then you can still juggle them in the air after. That's a concept that works with every sortie, not just one of them, right? Dang. So, like, those are things that you can mention, even without actually knowing that specific match.
Funny, because you just did a thing.
Yeah,
you just did a thing.
Yeah. So that's really important. Right. You don't have to like. You know, there's some people that are very like interested in like frame data, which is fair. That's very intricate, right? Yeah. Like, Smash Out of Shield is like frame 10 or whatever. It's like that's cool, but like, you know, the common viewer that will come in, like let's say someone sits down, like I'm sitting down on Twitch, just browsing through something. I click on a stream and like I have no idea what Smash is, and I hear these guys talking about frame data. I'm gonna dip.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna just go move on.
Like frame data?
Yeah.
No.
So that stuff is really important.
Right.
But there's a way to say it. Like instead of saying like that's frame 10 out of shield and that punishes blah 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 blah.
Right.
You could just be like that move is really fast when you drop shield and do it. So it's a great
return. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great get off me tool. That's something that you could say. So I think those two things are very important, and obviously, like what we just talked about earlier, being able to like understand the show flow. That takes, because the first two, I think the second one is really easy to get good at, is like, obviously knowing the game. The next one is like actually listening to the people that are working with you. I think the hardest one is doing the show flow, like just throwing it to a break. Bringing us back, like some people don't know how to be like, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to etc. event. Hey, welcome back to the Fusion Haa podcast. I'm SSB Kid, joined today by blah 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 blah. Like some people don't know how to do that.
You know what I mean?
Take the drop.
They're clipping it. But so like some people don't know how to do that, and that's fine. But I think that knowing how to do that stuff will take you from here to here. Like it'll take you to that next level.
So basically, kind of like learn production of what you're casting at the time. That is pretty.
Go watch like the NBA. Like, do you guys watch the Last Dance documentary?
No,
I've only seen the first episode.
No, I only see the first episode. So there's back in the 90s, like the big like commentator was Bob Costas, and every time they would segue into a game, hello everybody, I'm Bob Costas. Like it's so easy to just do that, but you'd be surprised how many people can't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you just gotta like listen to if people are struggling with like how to do show flow, go watch like sports.
It's kind of like how we do the intro to our podcast.
A little bit.
That's true.
Yeah,
a little bit. But also I noticed like with wrestling, you ever notice the pitches go higher?
Yeah.
And oh my God, with the DDT, and we come. Back in the day they said we'll come right back after these messages. Yeah. But it's like, oh my God, the DDT, and then kind of gets silent, and then it fades out to the commercials.
Yeah.
And welcome back to SmackDown.
Makes you want more. You want like, oh man, hit him with a DDT. Is he gonna get back up? I guess I gotta watch these commercials so I can see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because I was just gonna mention that about the commentators of wrestling. So you said that you're a wrestling fan.
Real quick, I love watching wrestling and not just wrestling. I love listening to the wrestling commentators.
Yes.
I have stolen the phrase "nobody home." I have stolen that on commentary.
Nobody's home.
And like I'm not gonna set the commentary world on fire, but I'm just saying, like I commentated with someone, and then for the next 3 majors that person was at, I would hear "nobody home" so many times, and then I would hear other casters say
copyright infringement.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Cool.
And like what a maneuver.
Yeah,
well,
it's great. It's great though because like you realize that like you're working with some of the best like casters in the business, and if they're taking what you said, maybe I'm just like. Maybe I just didn't realize it, but I feel like I was everyone that I talked to, like
you're right.
all the other production people, they're like, "No, you're right." Like we've definitely never heard them say that before. But it's cool to know that, like, oh, that's a little nugget that everyone wants. That they like it, so it's like, oh, like why don't we use that? So at the end of the day, I think that's actually kind of cool. So,
yeah.